konnichiwa. 안녕하세요. Hi, this is NiHangukEng. Konnichiwa, my Korea boos. So today I'd like to announce how I will be teaching Japanese to you guys. Now, there are many ways to learn Japanese online, through anime, Japanese dramas, TV shows, books. Now, the way I learned and that I would like to help support is by books. Specifically, the books that I used during my days of college. I took Japanese, and the books really helped in terms of self teaching. Now, it's very debatable on who thinks what's more effective, but in my testimonial experience, I personally think the Genki books are the best in terms of an English lear in English approach. There is books like Minna no Nihongo, which is more immersive, but you can get the same amount of information. Now, the difference is the practice. Now, the hardest thing in Japanese is probably, at least if you're learning through a book, is speaking or, sorry, listening and speaking, because you can't do much of that with a book, and probably interpreting. You'll do a lot of reading and writing, but the most important, in my opinion, in any language is writing. Because if you can write the language, you can read the language. Because you wouldn't be able to write it if you didn't know how to read the language. And then if you can read the language, technically, if you're saying it out loud, you could speak the language, whether you're translating it or literally just reading from the text and getting a gist from it. That's technically speaking if you were to use your voice. So, within that, if you can read it, you can write it. If you can write it, you can speak it. Now, with the Genki books, I recommend these because they have workbooks, they have audio books, and they have a lot of resources within the book. It's very well dated, and however you can get your hands on it, whether PDF, online, school. I personally would want to think you will learn your best with the Genki books. There's two levels of Genki books: Genki 1, Genki 2, and in my opinion, the next Genki is this is the Genki 3 in my opinion. They are made by the same company. I will link all these books in the description. And then you could just jump to the JLPT, the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, or Nihongo no Ryoko Shiken, which is the equivalent. And that should be able to teach you maybe between 4 and 3, depending on how thorough you will be. But overall, these books, I will go. I can't necessarily go over what's in the book, but I can go over important components that I thought was important and to talk about. Now, like in chapter 1, if I wanted to talk about introduction or what's important, like an important subject, then that would definitely be a video or whatever the community is requesting, at least from my understanding. I come from trying to, as an English speaker, to translate it in literal translation. The best way I could say it is like saying, Watashi wa Maku desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Which literally would be translated as, I, Mark, it is, take care of me. Please take care of me. It is. And that literal translation is literally to just say, I am Mark. Nice to meet you. But the literal translation helped me because it it made me, when I was reading big paragraphs, understand literally what is going on rather than just the gist of what is being said. I think it's important as translation to know because if you can translate it, you're technically speaking the language, jumping back and forth. Other than that, this is what I recommend. If anyone else has recommendations, feel free to always write it down and share with other people because I'm sure my way of learning could be different from your way of learning. And some people may benefit my way or some people may not benefit, but I'm sure some way in shape or form someone can learn something. So that's why I love to spread NiHangukEng because we are a language learning community. Now, it almost goes hand in hand to me, Japanese, Korean. That's why they are my passion and I would love, I am a lifelong learner. I may not be the best, but definitely I will learn my whole life and whether or not I am native, whether that is your goal, step by step is most important. Other than that, arigatou gozaimasu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. じゃあね